Your Excellencies, honorable members of the Human Rights Council, I represent DCI Belgium. We made this video together with the CODE, the Kireco and the DGDE. We coordinated the work of many children's rights organizations. We will now present you some key issues and recommendations for Belgium Universal Periodic Review. Since last year, the COVID crisis has reinforced the inequalities and human rights violations already denounced by your organizations in previous reports. This pandemic has consequences on the physical and mental health of children and their families, their education, the reception of children affected by migration, and even domestic violence. We are already certain that many repercussions on children's rights are looming in the medium and long term. It is important to remember that the best interests of the child must be a primary consideration, whatever the context or the degree of urgency of the decision to be made. The right to information and to participation are also essential tools for a coherent policy which respects the rights of the child. The pandemic has generated a social crisis. Precarity and child poverty are dramatically increasing. Many children are deprived of their fundamental rights, including housing, mental and physical health, education, access to leisure, protection and participation. Growing in poverty affects children in all aspects of their life, with heavy consequences on their development and their future. More than ever, the Belgian state should set as a priority the fight against child poverty. Children affected by migration face multiple difficulties accessing their rights. Unaccompanied children are very vulnerable. Despite a political moratorium, the law still authorizes the detention of children with their families. A legal reform is needed. Several recommendations should be made to Belgium regarding their health, reception and detention. The law addresses the issue of abuse, but still does not prohibit the use of corporal punishment in all settings. Thus, we ask for the development of prevention and awareness-raising campaigns, together with the adoption of a civil law. A criminal law is not appropriate. Belgium contributed to the UN Global Study on Children Deprived of Liberty. The state should now commit to implement its recommendations. Dozens of Belgian children are still in detention camps in the northeast of Syria. Their lives are in danger. Belgium must repatriate them as soon as possible with their mothers. For sick children and for children with disabilities, access to education is difficult for various reasons, including the lack of adapted transports and support. It is urgent to increase investment and staff for an inclusive education. The number of disappearances of unaccompanied foreign children has been multiplied by 6 between 2014 and 2018. These children are particularly at risk of being exploited. Furthermore, there is a spectacular increase in the number of images representing the sexual abuse of children. In addition, professionals are not aware enough of the situation. Therefore, they are not able to identify and take care of child victims. A better funding is necessary. In Belgium, access to a child care structure is impeded by many financial and geographical obstacles. Therefore, child care structures become inaccessible to a number of them, thus amplifying social inequalities at their earliest age. It is time to guarantee that every child has access to these structures. Belgium should ensure that human rights are widely known, understood and implemented. In particular, the state should strengthen training in children's rights for professionals and children themselves. It should as well integrate children's rights education in all schools programs in an explicit and transversal manner. Your Excellencies, honorable members of the Human Rights Council, in behalf of children's rights organizations in Belgium, we thank you for the attention you will pay to children's rights during the review of Belgium.